Welcome back to Lightning Round and Email of the Week. So LinkedIn, which is a great site, one of the more useful sites out there, even though early on I used to bash them for spamming everyone. So LinkedIn looked at all the data it has on founders, and it decided to come up with some kind of profile or template of the typical founder, which led to the question, usually as a founder you need to have some leadership skills. Are leaders born or made in your opinion?
Well, I think leaders are both born and made.
No, none of this both. One, are leaders born or made?
Leaders are made. I think it really has to do with your environment. I mean, you could be the son of a congressman, but you could still be a doofus. Even if he's given the greatest opportunities in the world, he can still be a moron. But I think that if you take that kid and give him a great education and give him a mentor and someone he can look up to and learn from and model, then yes, you can make a leader.
Yeah, I actually agree. This is an extension of the nature versus nurture argument that French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The key is, I started WatchMojo at 27. I'm not saying I had the leadership thing down. There's no way I was ready to lead a company when I was 20 or 21. I was the same person, but I needed to go through that. I think the key is also not just the skills and the experiences, it's just that willingness to lead and what that entails. Okay.
Right, so Amazon is launching a Kindle tablet. Do you think that Amazon stands a chance?
I think of all the companies out there, more so than the PC makers, Amazon does stand a chance. If you take a look at what they did with the Kindle, it wasn't a tech solution. They basically duplicated the experience of reading a book. I think with the tablet, if you consider the strength that they have in music, the strength that they have in books, and the strength that they might have with video if they do indeed go out and buy Hulu, which is not a given, but they are in the lead, then I think that Amazon can definitely own the space as a good number 2. If you combine that with the cash that they have, the market cap that they have, all the data that they have on what you like, what your friends like, then I think if they price it correctly at about $200-300, I think they will probably become the number 2. And what you'll have is you'll have Apple at the sort of higher end number 1, more tech applications, and then you'll have Amazon at the number 2, which is a lower cost entry, which basically is going to be a great entertainment tool. So I think, yeah, they definitely do have a chance, probably better than anyone else.
Yeah, great. So there are a lot of emerging markets these days. India, China, all over the world, new technologies coming out of different countries other than the US. So if you had to choose one, China or India, what would it be?
That's a tough decision. I think if you were selling products and goods, you should focus on China because China's GDP per person is like twice as much as India's, if not more. But I think if you're in the media, and yeah, if you're in the media space, given how China's government is, let's just say, concerned and protective, you would want to focus on India because also the language factor is a lot. There's no language barrier in India because English is widely spoken. So if you're in media, I think if you had to pick one, India. If you're selling goods, China.
Good to know. Anyways, so there's been a lot of turmoil in the Middle East, a lot of uprisings.
Really?
Yeah. What, you haven't read? Well, so that takes me to my question: Is social media overrated?
With its impact on it?
Exactly.
Not really. I think I was born in Iran, so I'm not an expert on the area, but I know how hard it is for a lot of the folks who are against the establishment to actually get anything done. I wouldn't say that. I think social media, if you think Twitter and Facebook are the reason why there is change in Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt, I think that's false. But I think if you say that Twitter and Facebook acted as catalysts, accelerators, enablers, then their role is actually not at all overrated. You could even argue it's underrated because the first freedoms that go during oppressive times are the freedom of the press and the freedom to gather with others. So in that sense, I think if anybody says, oh my God, technology brought down Mubarak, no, the people did, but technology enabled it.
Absolutely.
So what's the email of the week this week?
So Roger from Miami wants to know, what's the biggest mistake you've done in fundraising?
The biggest? How much time do you have? No, jokes aside, it's funny, the timing, because James Altucher actually came out with an article on negotiation versus selling, which is actually very similar to an article I wrote 2 years ago on why good salespeople tend to make really, really bad fundraisers. I think I'm a pretty good sales guy. I could go in, convince people, hey, what does it take to get a deal done? What are the obstacles? How do we come up with a win-win deal that we're both happy with in like a year or 6 months or 5 years? Those are the absolute worst traits to have if you're trying to raise capital. I think raising capital is like trying to get married or date a girl. You have to be, I hate to say it, you have to be a bit of a challenge. If you show your interest too much, if you put your cards on the table, the other party, you know, they sort of, that gets to their head. So the biggest mistake I've done is approach fundraising like I approach sales or just a business partnership. I think you have to be a challenge, basically. So that's the biggest mistake I've done, but I've done many other mistakes for sure. That's been this week's show. Hopefully CT Moore gets out of his argument with Arianna Huffington and will join us next week. Thanks again for your time.